Today, we're jumping right into the truly eye-opening research of Dr. Faye Kay. She's mapped out the exact biological and psychological blueprint for taking deep emotional burnout and completely transforming it into empowered, sovereign independence.
So, are you completely burning out? You know the feeling, right? Waking up with an empty tank before your feet even hit the floor. You walk into a room and bam, you instantly hit a wall of unspoken tension. Do you feel like the designated fixer in your life? Like you're taking the hits for everyone else's chaos, absorbing their emotional carnage, while your own nervous system is literally burning to the ground? You give absolutely everything, but when we actually need a lifeline, it's just crickets. Your pain is so valid, and I want you to know right off the bat, you aren't crazy and you for sure aren't broken.
Let's start with Section 1, the high-frequency empath.
Okay, let's dive into this. We really need to cut the crap about empathy just being some beautiful gift. Your massive heart isn't a life sentence. It's actually driven by a highly capable, high-definition biological receptor. See, your brain is equipped with hyper-responsive mirror neurons. You don't just logically understand that someone is upset. These cells force you to physically feel their pain in your own gut. You are literally hardwired to read the room and catch everyone's stray bullets, soaking up all that invisible heavy lifting everyone else is doing.
Which brings us to Phase 1, the toxic sponge phase. Before you can wield that immense sensitivity properly, you usually have to drag yourself through the trenches. Right now, you might actually be moving through life as a toxic sponge. Because of those hyper-responsive neurons, you're living with zero boundaries, just indiscriminately sucking up all the stress, the drama, and the toxicity from the environments around you. You take on people's unhealed junk like it's your personal duty to fix it. And doing that every single day, it is completely frying your circuitry.
The psychological fallout from swallowing all this emotional poison leads to a condition called Alexithymia. Basically, because you're constantly choking on this mountain of foreign emotional debris, your brain just pulls the plug on the dashboard to protect you. The overload is so aggressive that you have these massive, intense feelings, but you totally lose the ability to name or even pinpoint what they are. You actually lose track of which emotions belong to you.
And this brilliantly illustrates what alexithymia feels like, a heavy, flatlining static. Your brain registers the overload as just deafening emotional white noise. You end up in this bizarre state where you feel absolutely everything, 24/7, yet at the exact same time, you feel completely dead inside. It's the ultimate paradox of emotional exhaustion. Let's look deeper at Phase 2, rejection-sensitive dysphoria. So, what does this all mean, and why on earth do we stay stuck in this loop? Well, deep down inside that toxic sponge lives a paralyzing fear of rejection. Clinically, it's known as rejection-sensitive dysphoria, or RSD. When you spend your entire life playing the emotional meat shield for everyone else, your ego wraps its whole identity around being the fixer. You subconsciously start to believe that your only ticket to being loved and valued is your ability to absorb pain and just remain convenient for others. Dr. Faye Kay puts this incredibly bluntly, and I want you to really let this sink in. A rejection doesn't just sting, it feels like a lethal threat to your actual survival. If someone brushes you off, or if you aren't needed to process their garbage, the part of your personality that plays the fixer thinks it has literally no reason to exist. That is exactly why you're always walking on eggshells and people-pleasing. Your nervous system isn't just trying to be liked, it is in a full-blown fight-or-flight state, desperately trying to stay alive. Which pushes us into Phase 3, the dismissive avoidant tourniquet. Eventually, running on fumes at this crazy level of intensity forces a brutal crossroads. You hit the shatter point. You swing the pendulum hard to the other side, shut the whole system down, and emotionally check out into an isolated, protective shell just to survive the onslaught. In psychology, this is known as the dismissive avoidant attachment style. It's a hardcore defense mechanism where you build a fortress, check out, and decide you don't need a single soul. You choose rigid, untouchable independence over connection. Now, mainstream pop psychology loves to slap a toxic label on this, or call it a massive red flag. But Dr. Faye Kay's research frames this completely differently for an empath.
So the crucial point here is that for an empath, this avoidance isn't a flaw. It's a mandatory tourniquet. You literally had to pull the ripcord and go off the grid just to cut through the static of alexithymia. You had to detach from the collective noise to stop that massive energy drain so you could finally find your own pulse again. It's an absolutely vital survival mechanism. And that sets the stage for the final evolution, Phase 4, forging the sovereign Alchempath.
But here is the absolutely incredible part. You don't stay hidden in that avoidant fortress forever. You step into the crucible through a really specific alchemical process. First, you sever your flawless intuitive radar from the trauma response that constantly tells you to give yourself away. Second, you learn to observe the fire of the world without jumping straight into it. You still feel deeply, but you refuse to be humanity's punching bag. And third, you take all that raw psychic data and piercing insight, and instead of using it to glue broken people back together, you channel it upward into the crucible of your own mind. You spin it into higher, purer forms. There is such a stark contrast here. Think about it. The martyr absorbs pain just to stay convenient for others. But the sovereign extracts the pure essence of reality to forge pure gold. Your empathy completely flips from being your biggest vulnerability to becoming the undisputed ruler of your own energy and time. You start weaving your deep insights into high-frequency art, unbreakable structures, and incredible businesses. This ultimate evolution completely transforms you into a bulletproof, glowing force. You become someone who absolutely refuses to be a dumping ground for the world's trash. Instead, you weaponize your crazy sensitivity as rocket fuel for your own life. You live strictly by your own ironclad laws, and you do it without waiting around for permission or applause from the crowd. Which leaves us with this final, vital question, straight from Dr. Faye K's work. Will you continue choking on the world's pain, or are you going to use your empathy as the engine for your empire? It's time to stop playing the emotional meat shield. It's time to step fully out of the static and into your sovereign living.